Hello, fellow Southern Cameroonians. I'll send revolutionary greetings from me, John Ba Akuro. I'm sure you can see my face is beaming with happiness and satisfaction because I'm bringing good tidings. Good tidings for the people of the Southern Cameroons and good tidings from those who are operating in the front lines.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me on this short program. I call it short because it's a program I'm going to present just in reaction to a video that I saw out there yesterday. Yesterday was the 13th of February, 2021. Now, the problem of liberating Ambazonia, it's a very easy problem. Our problem is not a difficult one. It's not a complicated problem. It's not a problem that's as complicated as apartheid was complicated in South Africa by a long history of many entanglements, or the history of African Americans trying to liberate themselves that is complicated by the history of slavery, Jim Crow, and all of that. No, ours is a very simple problem. It's a problem where there was a law that should have been obeyed. That law was violated, and then they created laws that say, okay, this should guide at least the coexistence of these people, the cohabitation of these people, and that too was violated. Okay? So it is not just violating our natural laws as given by God, but the colonial history of German, British, and French is clear. We accepted those. We can't go back and change them. I can't go back to speaking Bafut and expect everybody to hear. But we've accepted that we now can speak English as our national language until we replace it. But we now can speak English as our national language. We will not change that. It starts becoming complicated when they come and say, okay, right now you are Ambazonia. And if you want to step back, Southern Cameroons, and that as Southern Cameroons, you are now a trust territory of the United Nations, and as a trust territory of the United Nations, you will be guided towards independence or self-government. But somehow things got complicated where we were handed over as a colony to another country. A colony to another country. And so that is a straightforward problem. We just need to be steady in making that case and making it very clearly. And then we also need to expose two things: the consequences of those violations and what the colonizer is doing to our people. I mean, these are pretty straightforward. Those are also in violation because those are crimes, those are war crimes. So our story is very straightforward, and it should be solved straightforward. But the obstacles along the way are many, and we need to learn how to navigate these obstacles, because if we don't learn how to navigate them carefully, we make our liberation even more complicated. Now, what am I talking about? I want you to watch this video that I saw yesterday.
Today is February 13, 2021. And so the people of Ambazonia, the people of the Southern Cameroons, are sending Mr. Paul Biya, who appears to be celebrating his 88th birthday today, a special birthday gift. And this is the announcement. It reads, Ambazonia leaders commit to reconciliation. Saturday, 13 February 2021. Leaders of Ambazonia liberation movements met Saturday for the lone purpose of checking in on each other. They spotlighted the need for frequent exchanges among themselves, the need for forgiveness among themselves, and the need for reconciliation as important building blocks for collaboration that they are determined to build. The main goal of the meeting and of future meetings to be held on a frequent basis is to repair the fractures, yes, caused by an absence of trust between the leaders. Leaders acknowledge their individual and collective roles indirectly or indirectly, condoning divisive rhetoric in the past and committed going forward to muster the courage to work with each other, beginning by simply talking to each other. On behalf of the leaders, this release is signed by John Akuro and Ntumfoin Bohabet. Like I said, there will be no comment.
Now, I don't know what you think about that video, but here's my problem with that video. I just released a video which we shot in 2017, and we were talking about leadership. How do you define leadership?
I see leadership like service in a very special character. That is service where you go beyond yourself to give the direction to a process or a project that every other person engaged in that process or project follows your guidance.
Okay. Roger?
I mean, leadership is basically putting yourself at the service of the people. And you can extend that into service leadership, transformational leadership, and all types of various subgroups of leadership. And think he himself has really practiced what we can call transformational leadership when he stood at the City Chemist roundabout and addressed the lawyers. And this revolution and our quest for self-determination picked up.
Leadership has to do with the ability to coordinate or bring together assets that would otherwise be out there, not used because there's no force or no one bringing them together for a particular goal or vision. And if we add all the elements that we've brought here, it seems to me that nothing can really work without leadership. I think leadership is very central to anything. Do we agree?
Sure.
People don't sit in their little corners and come up and say, I'm your leader. Or come and say, I form an organization, one-man organization, or an organization between me and my family, and we must lead you. And whether you like it or not, we must lead you. I am Jomba Akuru, I'm your leader. I am Tumfoin Bo, I am your leader. I am Akwanka, I'm your leader. I'm going to leave Sako out because Sako's own is more a thief. These other people are coming up like mushrooms. With Sako, we created that machine for our liberation. We gave it to him. He did what most dictators do. He purged the democratic forces. He purged those who actually build the organization, and then brought in pastors and catechists and laymen and deacons, and they all crowded the place. And right now they're collecting money and pretending that they're leading us. And that is not me saying it. I mean, we've been in this thing for 4 years and counting right now. And if you ask many people, they would think that our struggle is dying down. So what is happening is that these people are losing their relevance. And I was hoping that they will melt away. And that they've come to the consciousness that they should melt away. And suddenly Jomba Akuro comes and puts this video and makes all the most ridiculous statements in the world I can throw up. Oh, your leaders got together, it's a nightmare for Paul Biya. Really? Really? You can't even analyze? Mr. Jomba Akuro, I think you have a contribution to this struggle, but not as a leader. Bo Herbert maybe as a contribution to the struggle. Maybe just doing Ambazonia calling is his calling. He should concentrate on that. Okay? So when people are beginning to move on and you come and you want to impose yourself after all the failures that you have encountered, it just makes me wonder. It makes me wonder, what is it that you're looking for? I know you abandoned your job in Yaoundé. I know you try to go back. So I'm assuming right now that you're really struggling to live. But there are many ways of doing that. I don't know what your status is, but if you want to really be employed in the revolution or in the liberation struggle, I think there are better ways of doing that than imposing yourself, because you become an obstacle. Bo Herbert is an obstacle. Akwanka is an obstacle. Okay? All these people are obstacles.
We cannot deal with them. The Swiss were paid, they were bribed because of the poor and the hungry Southern Cameroonians abroad who are lazy and cannot work, do the menial jobs that they are supposed to do and earn money. They went there and they were giving them money. Bo Herbert cannot even tell the truth that they paid the ticket and they gave them a per diem. That is the fraud that was being perpetrated on the people of the Southern Cameroons by unscrupulous leaders.
And if you don't realize that, then we'll start telling you. We really need to start telling you. And don't come and be gloating and thinking that you're doing something good.
It is a moment of joy and happiness for me. And I just wanted to share this with all and sundry. Because you see this release in the forums, and you'll be asking questions whether it is authentic or not. That is why I decided to add my face to it. And don't find Bo Herbert will be adding his voice to it in an audio that will definitely be circulating in a very short moment or in a short while from now.
I was making notes to myself, and the man says that the leaders have reconciled and will be checking on each other and frequently, and we do forgiveness and reconciliation. All that is really bull crap. You need to go, and if you're going to get together, you should get together in a house, in a hall of shame. Not to come and pretend that you're Ambazonian leaders.
So I'm doing this just to bring a very short, straight to the point, and clear-cut announcement. And you will pardon me not to expatiate on this announcement, not to analyze it, and not to say anything further from it.
People are dying. People are dying on the ground. And you guys are here playing games with yourself and everybody else. And as you play those games, you become a laughing stock. You make yourself a laughing stock to our struggle. Because people are sitting around the world and say, you know what, I don't understand. These people have a real problem. And the problem is simple. But look at what they're doing. Maybe they should be colonized. Otherwise, John Bakuru, what makes you a leader? What is the process of being a leader? Because you can start a business of your own and you're the leader. Okay? You rise and fall on your own. Let me finish,
a leader
please.
must have a track record that assures its following that it has been moving and has the probability of continuing to move in the right direction and delivering what the people want.
What makes you a leader? What makes Bo Herbert a leader? What makes Sako a leader? What makes Choyaba a leader? Choyaba has been in this thing for a long time. But if you listen to what Choyaba says today, is the same thing he was saying when they were going and sitting, from the story they told me, when they were going and sitting in a Catholic church in the heart of Bamenda holding Dane guns and not expecting the police to come and get them. We need somebody to lead who we have seen in the struggle. He's proven he has his scars, because there's a value for scars. Because when it is said that when you're bitten by a snake, you're afraid of an earthworm. Okay, so which means that you know what to take care of. Let's assume that you all were leaders. Let's assume that you all were leaders, absolutely bona fide. But you have failed. You have failed the struggle, and I'm emphasizing this because there are new forces coming up, and they are ready to move forward. And if you continue to play these games, you're only obstructing. I think there was a time when there was chaos and everybody was taking for the bushes and there were people rallying around to help in one way or the other. But things are settling down, and I can tell you that things are crystallizing. And part of the crystallization is that you are beginning to really go down the bottom of the pit. And if you can realize that, then you hasten it for all of us, and we can find ourselves to Boya. Now, some of the changes that are taking place is that my understanding that Ground Zero is reorganizing itself. Ground Zero is reorganizing itself. And I've listened to some of what they're saying, and it's beautiful. They do not want to keep waiting on what's the right word? On absentee landlords, because they don't own the land, but they're absentee for sure. Pretending to be leaders, pretending to be commanders in chief, and pretending to be a lot of things, which I think our people on the ground who are really the owners of this struggle and need our support, their eyes are beginning to be very clear. They are seeing clearly right now. We have struggled for years in the United States, and we formed like 4 governments. They never connected to the ground, they never worked, and there are many reasons why they never worked. Now, I want to include one other person in this conversation, and it is Abdul, the Muslim scholar. And maybe Jomba Akuru is responding to the garbage that came out of Abdul. Abdul, this struggle is the struggle of the Ambazonian people. The role of the diaspora is to support them, is to support them financially. Mostly financially. Okay? You are not expecting people to sit in Washington, most of them unemployed, most of them living on nothing I can really specify. But don't come and say they should get together and that's part of the solution for the Ambazonian people. That's a joke. That's a joke, and it comes from wrong analysis. Because until we analyze this problem very well, we'll not be able to solve it. So analysis is very central before you start acting on false information and false thinking. So the leadership of this struggle, where people need to get together, is not in the diaspora. We need our fighters on the ground to get together, because this right now is really I want to say it's a military fight. It's a military fight for La République, but for us, it's a fight to defend ourselves and defend our land. And after we've done that, then we can push out the enemies from the land. And the enemies will not only be pushed out by our resistance, it will also be pushed down by other factors. But in all of this, the diaspora can only play a supportive role. And so if you're looking for the struggle to move forward and for the people on the ground to stop dying, talk to the ground. The only good thing about what is happening in the midst of this poor analysis and people pretending to be leaders is that the people on the ground, some of the education that La République deprived them of in terms of their history and just educating them about what the situation is, I think the past few years have given them that education. If you just listen to our people speak freelance in the market, you can tell that they know what's going on and they know what to do. So they don't even need the education anymore. They just need help to fight these people out. And that help starts with organization on the ground. You don't sit here and pretend you're the president of Ambazonia or you're a commander-in-chief of battalions that are on the ground. I mean, for how long can you keep lying yourself? Not to talk about lying other people, because nobody believes that crap. It's only you. So that's one very quick statement I wanted to make, because we've turned our struggle into a joke, and that's not funny. It's not funny at all. Now, Mr. Abdul Karim, sir, Ambazonian leaders are in jail. The De La République du Cameroon and its international partners understand that the Ambazonian people have had it for over 100 years now, and they want nothing more than their independence. They will go to those jails and what needs to take place to stop the killing of men, women, children, babies, the elderly, the mentally sick, animals, and their attempt to clear our people off our land will stop. Until that day comes, speak clearly about why we must fight for what is ours. We must be free to live like the humans that God created us to be. If you have to act in defiance of unjust actions and manipulations designed to undermine our inalienable rights and humanity.